this last week has not been good on my sanity. So, last week, there were a lot of different people and groups who took it upon themselves to start destroying Confederate statues and flags and what have you nots in response to Charlottesville. So, a couple days after this all started, there was a speech given by, or sort of a questionnaire thing, I'm not sure exactly how to phrase it, given by President Trump. And at one point, he said, in regards to these Confederate statues being torn down, well, today it's the Confederate statues. What's to stop next week from being George Washington and the week after Thomas Jefferson? Where does it end? And in predictable fashion, the media, just hours after that, went on a tirade about how, Trump was a moron, Trump's an idiot, he's paranoid, he's delusional, this is slippery slope fallacy, etc., etc. I can go on. No more than 24 hours after he said that, people have gone out of their way to prove him fucking right. There was a pastor that called for the removal of a George Washington statue and the renaming of George Washington Park because, well, Washington was a slave owner, so he was racist. I've seen the same for Thomas Jefferson statues. There was that Vice article which the author opined that we should blow up Mount Rushmore, which was then changed to get rid of Mount Rushmore because apparently someone had a modicum of common sense a few hours later. If I may stop for a second, why do publications keep doing this? Why does this seem to be the norm for publications in general anymore? There's no oversight. There's no one watching this stuff. What is an editor-in-chief? That's their fucking job, to look at this stuff, to review it, to go, no. But no, it just seems like, I'm going to write it up. Okay, I'm done. Click. Hey, it's now there. No oversight, no review, no nothing. And that's when you get gold like, let's blow up Mount Rushmore. Because that doesn't sound bad at all. There was even a burning of a Abraham Lincoln bust or statue. And that one confused people. And they asked me, what the fuck is up with that one? I thought that guy was against racism. He freed the slaves. So I had to explain it to people. There's sort of a two-part thing to this with the Lincoln one. The first is, it was Lincoln's plan and he never got to execute it because, well, he got executed, to send the free slaves back to Africa where they had been taken from. That's largely what's cited as how Lincoln is racist, because he had this weird idea that when you free people, you should also send them back so that they can live in their own homes rather than the land that they were abducted to. Crazy, I know. But the second reason, and this is the big one, is that the people who are doing this have this weird habit and bordering on fixation of viewing the entirety of history through the lens of the right here and now. They can't seem to get the idea that that doesn't work, that context is kind of important for history. That no, everyone should have the morals and ideals of 2017, even if they were in just the year 17. Because again, that makes fucking sense. And that's what leads to a lot of this. There's one rather famous story on the internet that I can reference back to, the Mozilla CEO, who several years before his firing, he had donated money to anti-gay marriage groups or something of that effect back when that was the popular thing to do, when that was considered the correct thing to do. And then years later, when the general populace tone had shifted towards gay marriage being accepted, well, he had donated money to anti-gay marriage groups. It didn't matter that this was a long time before the firing and that society had shifted. No, he did it. He's bad. He had to be fired. There are interviews of politicians I can name just giant lists of. Hillary Clinton and Obama, I'll just start there, where they said that gay marriage was not going to be a thing, that it was bad, or what have you nots. And then as the populace shifted from against gay marriage to for gay marriage, then they said that they were in favor of gay marriage. See, again, context, history, ha ha ha. And that seems to be the issue with people like this, is that they don't view history as having its own mentality, or that things shift with time. No, everyone has to view the world the way they do now, regardless of when in history we're looking back at. Otherwise, they're a racist, or they're evil, or they're bigoted, or whatever. Ultimately, what worries me about this is, where exactly does this end? Right now, you're taking down flags and statues, and you're demanding that buildings and parks be renamed. Where does that end? Because that never ends at objects. Because I'm going to, again, cite history as my defense for what will sound like hyperbole. Because after you have cleansed the land of all objects that are deemed bad to whatever it is, then comes the people who defended them and are in favor of them. You must then cleanse the people for having the wrong ideas, the wrong thoughts, the wrong beliefs. That's how this goes. And again, I know this sounds absolutely hyperbolic, but I will cite history. And you can tell me till you're blue in the face that we have evolved beyond that, that we are a more civilized society, all those things. You're taking down statues. You're using mob justice to take down statues. We have not evolved. We are the same people as they were in any other point in time when that was deemed acceptable. So what is to stop me from believing in the ultimate end goal that has been the same for thousands of years? That's not paranoia. That's me fucking knowing how to read a history book. So this needs to be stopped now. Because when they finally cleanse the land of the objects that are bad, guess whose turn it will be next? When they came for the statues, I said nothing because I was not a statue. You know the rest. This has been Math Machine, hoping that some modicum of common sense will return to society, though at this point, I honestly doubt it. What a world. Peace out.